Abubakar Baroba, Principal Sergeant at Arms.
Ali Galole, Sergeant at Arms.
Felix Wario, Clerk Assistant.
David Wako-Omaro, Clerk Assistant.
Mashombo Lalo, Senior Legal Counsel.
Zainab Omar, Research Officer.
Refresh on there, refresh.
Thank you, members of the Secretariat. Honorable members, we can, where is Honorable Fatuma? Oh, okay, we can begin with Riziki, Honorable Riziki.
Good afternoon, members. Riziki Amaro Ruhu, nominated MCA.
My name's Maka Maimuna Mohammed. Fatuma Badada, nominated MCA, UD part.
Musa Wario, MCA representing Kipini West, member of this committee of appointment and also minority leader. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Mahmoud Ali Barro, MCA representing Salawat. Thank you.
Good afternoon. I'm Ismail Kodobo, member for County Assembly representing the great people of Rimani Ward.
Afternoon, everyone. My names are Hamid Babusa Salim, MCA representing the great people of Kinakombawad, a member to this esteemed committee, and also the deputy majority leader.
Afternoon, everyone. Yusuf Bele, member representing Chewele Ward.
I am Mahmoud Ahmed Gabo, a friend to this committee. Thank you.
Kwa majina naitwa Halima Galtuma Mohamed, nominated MCA, Upya Party.
Yes, good afternoon. I'm Rhoda Katisha, representing the people of Gariseni Southward, a member of this committee, and also the Deputy Speaker. Welcome.
My name is Osman Nur Galole, the Speaker of this Assembly and the Chair of this committee. Mr. Matthew Baboya, first of all, we will administer an oath, but I want to prepare you psychologically that you've been allocated only 1 hour. So it will depend on how fast you will respond to the question asked by the honorable members. So the legal counsel, kindly administer the oath.
I, Matthew Baboya Buya, do swear by Almighty God that the information I shall give to the committee shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help me God.
Thank you, Mr. Matthew Baboya. Kindly confirm to this committee that indeed the person appearing before the committee is Mr. Matthew Baboya.
Chair, I confirm that the person before this committee is Mr. Matthew Baboya Buya. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Matthew Baboya, kindly tell us about yourself.
Thank you, Chair, for the privilege even to appear before this committee. I've already said my name. I'm a resident of Tana River, born on July 1st, 1984. So I have the privilege every financial year to open the financial. The opening of the financial year is also my birthday. But Chair, I was privileged to also attend primary school here in Tana River. 1991 to 1995, I was in Chewani Primary School. Then I finished my primary school between 1996 to 1998 at Hola Primary. Then proceeded to Shimolatewa Secondary School, where I was for my secondary education. Then, Chair, I was also privileged to attend Kenyatta University, where I took a Bachelor of Arts and specialized in economics. And as we speak, I'm done with, I'm taking a master's in economics. I've done the coursework. What is pending is the project at University of Nairobi. So, Chair, I'm also privileged to be married to Mrs. Catherine Mwende and blessed with 2 children, Buya and Hajila. And for the last 5 years, Chair, I've been privileged to serve this great county as the County Executive Committee member in charge of finance until recently, when now I'm going through this transition. So in brief, Chair, that has been my tour of duty and at least background information about me. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Matthew Baboya, kindly tell this committee about your net worth.
Chair, my net worth is estimated at 19 million. If I take the assets minus the liabilities as of today.
Now let me hand over to the Deputy Speaker.
Yeah, Mr. Matthew Baboya, we are meeting for yet another season. It's another season. You are there. It will not be easy to separate you from that Department of Accounts, of Finance. But here you are. I just had one question for you. This is a fairly new docket of department in Tana River County. I was wondering what you can do for the youths. What you can do for the youths, the very many youths that are out there jobless. What are your plans for the youths through this department? Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. Indeed, we must be alive to the fact that the whole county government, if there's one area that we need to focus on, is the youth. In addressing some of the environmental challenges, we have plans to plant trees, not only as a county, but also as the national government. They have a very ambitious program to plant billions of trees. So one of the ways to help the youth is to afford them opportunities to not only plant the trees, but nurture them. So we will be giving short-term contracts of at least 3 months, just to ensure that they get something out of environmental conservation. But also, Madam Deputy Chair, is just to confirm that there are opportunities that are coming in this department. We are already rolling out locally led climate change action. So we have a fund called FLOCA, which has already been credited to the county to build the capacity of us as a county to respond to issues environment, or rather climate change. So those opportunities, just the same principle of allocating at least 30% to youth, women and people living with disability, will ensure that they benefit from those projects that will be rolling out as a department. Thank you.
Mr. Baboya, Mr. Chair, I'm done.
Honorable Yusuf Bile.
Thank you, Chair. My question is, Mr. Baboya, what is the laws and policies that are likely going to guide your department?
Thank you, Honorable Bile. Of course, we have the Tana River County Climate Change Act that was done by this House in the year, Tana River County Climate Act of 2021. We also have the Tana River County Climate Change Fund policy of 2021. Mheshimiwa will also know that the main overarching law is the Constitution. But also on environment, we have the Environment Management Act, which was done in 1999, but also amended in 2015, which will be guiding work. We also have the Tana River County Environment Policy, which is already in use. But lastly, we can also ride on the the Forest Act to guide what we are doing as a county. Thank you.
Chair, my second question is that our brother was a CCM finance for the last 5 years, of which I can see here that he failed several issues, including paying of pending bills. Now that he wants to switch to environment, nataka tuambie anataka kubadilisha nini?
Thank you, Chair. In the Department of Environment, which is fairly new, we are now facing very serious issues as a county. You know, county is a theater of disasters. So I'll put more focus on engaging the national government to see if we can handle the seawater intrusion into the Tana Delta. So that is an area that I will put my energy on in this docket. We also have the land degradation that is happening in Tana North. So we will want to engage those stakeholders to see if we can either reclaim the areas that are already degraded and put some order by enforcing the MCA Act of 1999. But more importantly, I want to also throw my weight behind garbage or rather solid waste management in our towns. So I believe these 3 areas will have a very felt impact to our people, just 3. Of course, there are other programs that the department is already running, but I think these 3 areas can touch lives almost directly. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. I'm done.
Honorable Babusa.
Thank you, Chair. Mr. Matthew Baboya Buya. Tell this committee any plans that you'll have to mitigate the issue of invasive species such as madenge in the county. Thank you.
Thank you, Mheshimiwa Deputy Majority Leader. Madenge has been a menace, especially for, both our communities, whether in farming or in livestock keeping. And our plan is just to reduce the population of madenge. So one of the very feasible ways is to give permits for charcoal production. There is a difference between charcoal burning and charcoal production. So I believe if our people can be using the tree for the production of charcoal, that will progressively help in curbing the menace. But if we are now to go radical, then we just need to engage in uprooting and literally cutting as a program. So, but we'll do it progressively because in as much as the negative outweigh the positive, we still have some little positives of the madenge tree. So when I was consulting this week with what is happening nationally, they are coming with a program actually to replace madenge with another species that can be, animals can use it for grazing without the current harm. So with such partnerships, I believe we can handle the invasive species. Thank you, Mheshimiwa.
The last question. Mr. Matthew, the last regime, in the first 5 years, you've served as the Cecm finance, and you've been representing very well the county to the Senate. But now you are nominated at this Department of Climate Change. Don't you think that that is a sabotage? If no, why? If yes, explain further. Thank you.
Mheshimiwa, thank you for the question. But I want to submit that the County Executive Committee is a mirror of the cabinet nationally. And when you are a member of any cabinet, in any government under the sun, then we have a collective responsibility. In as much as the CEC Finance, who is also cited as the head of the county treasury in the Public Finance Management Act, was performing those roles, being a member of that cabinet means I can still offer my advice to His Excellency the Governor, according to the oath that I'll take in case I'm successful in this endeavor. I can also work with any colleague in any department. So it is not a sabotage. The Governor will always place people where he deems fit, and we are ready to help him discharge his mandate as, and the social contract that he has taken with the people of Tana from any corner. So in short, Mheshimiwa, my skills and expertise are not only limited to where I was serving. The cabinet has a collective responsibility from whichever corner you are serving. I can still advise on roads, I can advise on water. Any member of cabinet, or rather the County Executive Committee, should be ready to do that through the principle of collective responsibility. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair.
Honorable Ismail Kodobo.
Thank you. Chair, my question has been partly answered, but I would like to pose it for the benefit of the public. Bwana Baboya, considering that you have served as the CECM for finance before, how is your experience relevant to this new docket?
Thank you, Mheshimiwa. I can just cite 2 roles, or rather 3, of the CCM Finance that will make me relevant in this new docket or any other. One, the CC Finance is responsible for budgeting. And while we budget, nowadays nobody closes himself in a room to budget for a county. It has to be consultative, first from the public, then to all departments bringing proposals which are processed by the Treasury for onward transmission to the County Assembly. That role of budgeting and that of planning has made me to have a bird's eye view of what is happening across the county. I can appear, and just like I used to do before the Assembly, and almost have an idea of what is happening in environment, what is happening in health. So these 2 roles, budgeting and planning, has exposed me to the entire functioning of the county government. And lastly, Section 166 of the Public Finance Management Act gives the CC Finance privilege to receive quarterly reports from accounting officers. And those reports are supposed to be both financial and non-financial. In consuming some of those reports and other regular reports, I have gained knowledge of what is happening across all these departments. But lastly, the role of CEC Finance is to just offer leadership to the department. So you will always have technical people to do the nitty-gritties, and that is a role that I have already discharged in finance. I'll do it here, and I've even done it nationally. Thank you, Mheshimiwa.
Chair, my last question. Honorable CC, as the CC for Finance, we have had the issue of pending bills recurring even after severally budgeting for it, and that is contrary to regulations 41 subsection 2 of the County Public Finance Management County Government Regulations Act 2015, which requires that the pending bills should be treated as first charge. So tell this committee why your administration had the most pending bills in the country, and even after several recommendations and advices from this honorable house, keeping in mind that under your watch for the 5 financial years, 2018-17 up to 2022-2023, this house has allocated 6,530,762,708.50 cents to clear that pending bills, and yet the problem is still recurring. So kindly tell us what the problem is. Thank you.
Saba.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you, Mheshimiwa Kodobo, for this question. I want to confirm, Chair, that the County Treasury has made tremendous progress in the payment of Tana River, and they acknowledged that under my watch I have paid almost, 90% of those who are who had claims with the county government. But then came a resolution from the Intergovernmental Budget and Economic Council. An audit was commissioned by the National Treasury, undertaken by the Office of the Auditor General. The short of it, all bills for the period ending June 30th, 2018 were verified. At least 1.2 billion was presented before the Auditor General, and he cleared around 560 million. Mheshimiwa, I want to confirm that we paid to the last coin of the eligible pending bills for the period ending June 30th, 2018. I remember during the same period, colleagues who had served in the previous regime had claims on their gratuity. The Treasury had also managed to clear an amount not less than 120 million relating to their gratuity, some money that was not saved by any pension fund. And while we were doing all this, it is because we were guided by that same principle that pending bills is also a first charge. Then again, the Intergovernmental Budget and Economic Council sat and passed a resolution that the financial years 2018, 2019, and 2019-2020 be also subjected to verification. The Auditor General came, 2.1 billion worth of pending bills were presented. He went through those bills, or rather those claims, and pronounced herself as the Auditor General. Mheshimiwa, I have submitted to this Honorable House that out of 2.1 billion, again, an amount of around 500 million was cleared as eligible, and 1.6 billion was declared as ineligible on account of insufficient documentation or missing files. I want to confirm to you, Mheshimiwa, that this 500, where 300 million worth are related to merchants, we are paying to this day. So the challenge of pending bills cannot be, is not a Tana River County challenge alone. We have several meetings with all these institutions, the Controller of Budget, the National Treasury, IBEC, the auditor, and ourselves to make sure that we come up with mechanisms in counties to at least reduce the accumulation of pending bills, because the challenge is related to many other reasons, including sometimes departments that are procuring outside the budget and a collection of the on-source revenue, and lastly, delay in the disbursements. For example, Mr. Speaker, this county government has never finished a financial year without crossing with at least 2 months worth of unremitted disbursements. So my submission is that as an administration and as a county government, we just put robust mechanism to reduce the accumulation, but also accelerate the payment of the eligible pending bills. Mheshimiwa, that is much I can say about pending bills. I know it's an ongoing debate, it's an ongoing discussion, but I believe from the progress we've made, my successor can do even a better job. Thank you, Mheshimiwa. But lastly, is just to say, when you hear the people saying we have a pending bill, yes, we can acknowledge it in our books, but it has to be verified, because also you don't want a county treasury that is paying fictitious claims, considering that these are taxpayers' money. So, Mheshimiwa, that debate is still going on, and I hope we will be the first county to do it better for others to come and learn. Thank you.
Thank you. Chair, my last and final question to our brother nominee. Mr. Baboya, as you leave the finance office, what is the current outstanding pending bills?
Yes, Mheshimiwa, I may need to confirm in my official records, but considering that we are acknowledging the ineligible pending bills for the period 1819, 1920, which are standing at 1.6 billion until they are resolved, plus the 2 other years, our pending bills could be estimated at around 3 billion. But that is a figure that I need to confirm with the Treasury. But the disclaimer that I have given before is that these are claims that were submitted to the Treasury, which we have acknowledged. But until they are verified, I cannot accurately say that this figure is correct. So we can work with a figure of around 3 billion. Thank you.
Chair, thank you for allowing me this time. Chair, as I have already indicated, we've budgeted for 6 billion 530 million. 6 billion 530 million. Mr. Speaker, Mr. Chair, is a lot of money. It could have done a lot in this county. So could the CEC for Finance be fair enough to at least tell this Honorable House what the department has done with that 6.5 billion? Because it cannot be a realistic figure that we have been left with 3 billion to pay as pending bills, while this Honorable House has committed itself and allocated 6 billion 530 million. So just kindly let him clarify on that. Thank you.
Okay. Chair, on the figure of 6 billion, as cited by Mheshimiwa Kodobo, that is an amount that I need to confirm from the budgets we've done, the supplementary budget of 17-18 to the current year budget. So I may not really confirm how much has been budgeted for pending bills. All I know is that report that I have found for the monies that were allocated for pending bills, the 1.9 billion report that I found on the 15th of February 2018 was fully paid, the ones that were cleared. I've also said the verification of all the bills for the period that was ending 30th of June 2018 has also been cleared and a certificate issued to us as account treasury by the National Treasury then. I have also said that these bills that were cleared recently for 1819 and 1920, those eligible pending bills are being paid to date. So what have we done? The eligible pending bills, including those that were related to water tracking that was done in 2016, were paid. So what we've done is that there are suppliers who may not come out in the open that have already received their money. Number two, we have, on account of those payments, completed some of the projects. Some of them are in Hola, like this maternity here. They are pending bills we inherited. We paid and it was completed. The Gariseni market that you see had very huge pending bills that we inherited. Today, the market is free of debt and our people can use it. This tarmac road that you see in Hola town, it was a huge pending bill that we paid, and it is now in use, and it is free of debt. That residence, the official residence of the county governor, was a pending bill which we have paid, and it is now in use. So I can go on and on that we have people who are crying in my office during that period that we have paid. But the nature of our merchants is that they are paid today. If they have something pending tomorrow, I mean, they must be paid. But truly, if we go to the records, we have paid not less than almost 2.5 billion worth of pending bills. But on the budget, that is something that I have to dig and confirm how much was allocated, how much was paid, and an agenda that we were prosecuting in the committees. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. For the interest of time, I had a lot of questions, but nitawacha tu. Asante.
Honorable Mahmoud Barrow.
Thank you, Chair. I have a few questions, and very quick one. Mr. Baboya, a quick one is state 3 issues that affect our environment in Tana River, and your plan to mitigate against them. Thank you.
I've said before, we have the challenge of land degradation in Tana North through the gypsum mining. We need just to map out the area that has already been degraded and see if we can explore the route of enforcing the EMCA, the Environmental Management Act of 1999, because there are clear provisions in that act on how we can protect the environment. So that is a way to mitigate, but also through the tree planting program for the species that can work well in those areas, we can also consider planting trees as a mitigation. We also have said we have the challenge of intrusion of seawater in Kipini and Chara areas that is threatening life, or rather biodiversity, in the Tana Delta. We've had elaborate discussions with NEMA and Kenya Ports Authority and the relevant ministries. At some point, the governor flew there with a chopper, and the national government appreciates the real challenge that we are facing there. How do we mitigate? We have taken the responsibility to carry out a feasibility study. But in the interim, most of the stakeholders are saying we need to erect a wall. You see, that is a project beyond our means. So we'll need to continue engaging the national government to see if that wall can be done to mitigate that. We also have the challenge of solid waste, disposal of solid waste in our towns. We are exploring the idea of sensitizing our people to do biodigesters which is a technology that can handle part of the problem. But we are also planning to buy at least 2 trucks and 1 honey sucker that we make sure we aggregate the solid waste so that these trucks can carry it to our designated area for disposal. Of course, we have loss of, or rather, the rangelands. The rangelands, we have discovered that we are losing part of the pasture in those rangelands, and one of the ways is just to reseed and make sure that grass grows and these rangelands are restored. So I can limit myself to the 4, but there are many other challenges that I would have spoken into.
Thank you. The other question I want to pose through the chair is, he said, our friend Baboya said 3 billion pending. That's a mess office, because when somebody is leaving an office, needs to be clean and wash his or her hand. It's a wonderful thing. 3 billion pending bill. I don't know, the successor will have also a challenge. In Tana River County, number of contractors have lost trust during your regime because of pending bills and discriminatory selection in terms of payment of the pending bills. This is public domain that you have been selecting few, either friends or what, that you have been paying them. Others pending bill from 2018 still have this in the houses not been paid. Can you clarify to the committee and the public, for the interest of the public today, that issue? Is it true?
Mheshimiwa, I want to confirm that the county treasury has made tremendous progress in the payment of pending bills. Something that I've just said. We are guided by 2 things. That this bill has been looked into by the auditor and cleared as eligible pending bills. You see, that action was commissioned not by the county treasury of Tana River, but the Intergovernmental Budget and Economic Council. So we are guided by a report. I've said here, like the recent report for 2 financial years, 18-19 and 19-20, the people who are cleared, you can realize they are less than a third. Out of 2.1 billion, 530 something million was cleared. Out of the 530, only 336 thereabout is related to merchants. You can see the fraction. So we are bound to get complaints, but it is not my own making. If a merchant did not satisfy the auditor that indeed this bill that I've presented before you is eligible for payment, it is not for me to say. So there will be complaints, yes, because you can imagine 1.6 billion whose claims were declared ineligible. But we were paying on the basis of report. I've told you a report that I first found when I took the oath of office, another report that was done by the auditor, and a recent one for 18-19. And while paying these reports, the control of budget and all these institutions are saying, first in, first out. So when the county treasury limits itself to those guidelines, of course you are bound to receive complaints. But I want to confirm that we have not had any management meeting to say, do not pay person X, but pay person Y. I have even made a trip recently in the 3 sub-counties, sensitizing merchants, saying, if you have ever been in the eligible pending bills, take your file to the treasury now. When I was making that announcement, I am not aware of who are these merchants that were cleared for payment. So I distance myself from the sentiments that we are paying with a bit of unfairness. It is on the basis of the report, and while at it, we are advised to do first in, first out. So, as I leave the department, it is not true that the issue cannot be cleared. The issue of pending bills today is a national issue, and every treasury, both the 47 county treasuries and even the national treasury, has some 500 billion to clear. 500 billion worth of merchants. So it is not a Matthew Baboya issue. It is a PFM issue. And it is being discussed all over. Do we move to accrual basis to handle this? So, Mheshimiwa, I believe whoever is my successor can still do a good job in clearing the eligible pending bills. And lastly, for the benefit of the public, we are not saying the 1.6 billion that was declared by the recent audit is a death sentence. We will be gazetting a county government ineligible pending bill resolution committee that will sit again to look into the 1.6. If they are cleared, the only honorable thing to do is to come back to this house, allocate more resources, and pay these our brothers and sisters. That is just the way to go. So much so, Mheshimiwa, in the national government today, they have had to freeze many development projects to pay pending bills. The issue is that serious. So it is a trade-off that we need to do as the people of Tana, slowing down development to pay what we have already committed before. Thank you.
Thank you. This is also in the public domain, that you partially answer that there are several files which are ineligible, pending bills. Some of them are in your table, are not in the pending bills. They are from the sectors. In this case, where is the problem? Ineligible, somebody was given a job through procurement process, completed the work. When somebody completed the work, the time of payment, he or she is told ineligible. In this case, you did something concerned about, I think, economics and all that, and the procurement issues, at least you are well versed. When ineligible comes, it should come the first time, not the last ineligible. So in this case, for example, in Bura, we have radiology house. Here in Hola, we have maternity which is being used. In Sala, we have a dispensary that is being on. All these files, some of them are still owning the county government, some of them are ineligible after they did their work. Can you tell this committee where is the problem? Is it the procurement? Is it you? And already you said, by shifting the blame, saying it's not issue of Matthew Baboya. It is Matthew Baboya because you are the holder of the office. Clarify to this committee today that the problem comes from the system that you are running, either the procurement or where. Tell us. Thank you.
Thank you, Mheshimiwa. I want to say that I wish we had a checklist of what the auditor will check when he comes for verification. For you to be eligible, a file has to be complete. And if a file is to be complete, for example, if you have made supplies of these gadgets, maybe you are within the threshold of an RFQ, you must show that you have filled the RFQ, you know, and in the course of evaluation, maybe you are the lowest bidder, then you are given an LSO, then you supplied the goods or rendered the services. You know, if they are physical goods like this one, someone here will receive them and enter them into an S13, all that until the time when we are using it this morning. So if an independent entity comes, your file ought to speak for itself. Now, the last report that was done which is again public. I've shared it publicly. It is in our website. We can avail it any minute from now. The auditor is saying when he was here, part of the ineligibility is that the files were not presented. Part of the ineligibility is that the files were incomplete. Why would you supply when there is no LSO? Why would you supply when the department does not show an S13? So this challenge of documentation permeates the entire administration. But we are saying, if we are to answer lawfully, Section 45 of the Public Procurement and Disposal Act has placed the responsibility of keeping such documents on accounting officers. So my advice has always been, and not only in safe custody, but for a period of not less than 6 years, Section 45 of the Procurement Act. So when an auditor comes to the ground, it is not our role as the county treasury. We will just announce that, you know what, in these 2 or 3 financial years, there's an auditor who has come for verification. The simple thing is just to present the files. So even as we put, or rather gazette, an ineligible resolution pending bills committee, still there is no shortcut. Let these merchants present the files. The only comfort that we can give to our merchants, which is also the position of the Intergovernmental Budget and Economic Council, is that whoever that rendered goods, services, or works legitimately must be paid. So the council has looped in the advice of the Attorney General. Please let us advise that mama, that mzee, that has rendered services to this county government, or any other government for that matter, that as long as we can prove, he will be paid. That is the good news that I have on pending bills this morning. But lastly, they cannot be paid until we accept, as the people of Tana, on that trade-off, that we need to allocate more resources for the payment of pending bills than we are already currently doing. On the issue of how money was expended before, we will account for that in case there are any areas that you think the monies were not applied correctly, then administrative actions or rather legal actions will be taken. But from where I sit, the monies that was allocated for the payment of our people has been properly applied, and we have the records to show for it.
Okay, thank you. Final and very simple. It was in the public domain also with the other CECs also, former, that you are the bull of the county just because of maybe the ranking of the position of the finance, that is. So in this case, you have been doing maybe ideas or maybe taking decision alone sometimes. So in this case, you are taken to an environment docket, whereby the donors are there, a lot of inclusiveness are required. What can you tell this committee about how will you run this sector in relation to the former what was in the public domain? Thank you.
Thank you, Mheshimiwa, for that. It is not true that I've been the bully of this county. In fact, under my tenure, Mheshimiwa, I have really opened the space for public participation. There is no single plan document or a policy such as CFSP or the budget estimates that we have not done public participation. So always in my leadership, I embrace consultative planning and budgeting. That is a culture that I will carry with me. In fact, this morning, we were discussing with the chief officer in charge of environment and climate change on how we can take all our ward administrators for sensitization before we roll out the FLOCA fund. So when you man the county treasury, I agree. You may come out, because you have to be firm in terms of implementation of the law, but I don't remember situations where I was a bully, to colleagues or anything. We do public participation with the Wananchi. We also present those documents to the County Executive Committee where people freely give their views. So I believe people are created differently, but I don't remember where I have bullied anybody. Thank you, Mheshimiwa.
Thank you, Chair. That's my last question. Just a piece of advice that the question was asked by the former CC, issue of the madenge. He said we might replace the madenge with another good thing. So I'm saying sometimes we say, you can do worse than that. When madenge was coming, we had a lot of problem, but now it's a problem again. So don't increase the problem, but reduce the problem. Do no harm, please. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Mr. Matthew Baboya, I will allow Honorable Fatuma, Honorable Maka Maimuna, and Honorable Riziki to ask their questions concurrently so that you will answer them, all the questions at once. And then I will, reminding you of how to balance the time. We've consumed more than 1 hour and 20 minutes around there. So kindly, when responding, you can be brief as possible, please. Honorable Fatuma, and then followed by Maka Maimuna, and then Riziki. Thank you.
Asante Chair. Waziri, my question is, state your plans on how to make our town clean.
Mr. Matthew, I also have one question for you. Kindly state the name of the city, state the name and city of the most recent global convention on climate change.
Mr. Matthew, my question is, and it is only one, state sustainable development goal that will be contributing to as a department. Only one.
Thank you, Shmiwa. Thank you for the questions. On making our towns clean, we have said before that we will focus mostly on solid waste. We have plans to buy at least 3 trucks for the collection of garbage, but we will involve also casual workers to make sure that they consolidate it in one place so that we can carry it with the trucks to designated areas, areas that are designated for disposal. On the SDG that we'll be contributing to, if I'm not wrong, this is SDG number 13 on climate change. And lastly, the last conference was COP27, and it happened in the coastal city of, I think, Sheikh Al-Sham in Egypt. And I think that is the much that I've gathered from waheshimiwa. Asante.
Mheshimiwa Musa Wario, kuna swali lolote unataka uko sawa? Okay. Thank you so much, honorable members. Mr. Matthew Baboya, before you take your leave, kindly, do you have anything to inquire or to comment or to ask the committee members before you take your leave?
Thank you, Chair, for the opportunity even to appear before this esteemed committee. Mine is just to thank every member plus your technical team for your patience, and just to make a prayer to you, Chair, and the rest of your membership and the Honorable House that you give me another chance to serve the people of Tana. And under my tenure, I've broken that culture of the CEC not appearing to answer especially difficult questions. I am on record on issues of accountability to have appeared before this assembly for every single issue. Even if a letter comes within hours, I will still respond and come to this committee. Lastly, that has improved the relationship between my department and that of this honorable house. So I believe I'm praying that you give me another chance so that we can serve you even better in the Department of Environment and Climate Change. Thank you, Mheshimiwa, and I wish you a happy Eid and happy holidays to those who are expecting their children back home this week. Asante sana, and God bless you.
Thank you. We also wish you the best. Kindly confirm whether you have all your original documents before you take your leave. Honorable members, let us take a 10-15 minutes break. We pray and then converge here at exactly 24 minutes past 1. For those of us who are not fasting, lunch is ready. You can take your lunch in the new building, I'm informed.